the World Healing Tour movement with your host, Noah Crane. Heal yourself, heal the world. Hello, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast, where our mission is to help you heal yourself so you can heal the world. Hi, my name is Noah Crane. Each week, we will bring you tips and tools and inspire you to live your most empowered and joyful life. I'm also the author of the book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, because the grass is greenest where you are when you live in a place of no comparison, no competition, and no scarcity. When you learn to live in your own love and light and share your unique gift with the world. The reason we have to heal ourselves is because when we heal ourselves, we're able to raise the consciousness of the world together. And I always say together we are one, and together we win. So we have to all keep elevating the consciousness so we can all shine even brighter together and help leave this world better than it was before. That's why we bring incredible guests into studio every week to pour into you. And I'm very excited about the guest that I have today. Dr. Mandy Frederic is a woman of faith, a trailblazer in the beauty industry. She's the CEO and founder of Faces Made Beautiful, LLC, a beauty company that aims to empower women through self-care and self-love. Dr. Mandy Fresh operates her business under the banner of Painting the World Pretty with Dr. Mandy Fresh Frederic. Aside from her successful beauty company, Dr. Mandy Fresh is also the driving force behind Discover the Beauty Women Empowerment, Inc., a nonprofit organization that helps girls and women pursue their purpose and passion. Dr. Mandy Fresh, welcome to the World Healing Tour podcast.
Thank you for having me. No, it's such a pleasure to join you on today.
Thank you. It's so awesome to have you here. It's truly an honor. And I really love what you do. I love, that beauty, there's an outside beauty and there's an inside beauty, and you kind of put it all together. Can you talk a little bit about that and why you're so passionate about what you do?
Well, the reason why I'm passionate about what I do, because I came to find out a long time ago, it's not something that you put on. It is the essence of who you are on the inside from within. And if many people can harness that, right, because it starts with the soul. I've learned a long time ago, it doesn't matter how much lipstick you put on, how much powder you cover up. If your soul is not in place where it needs to be, your true beauty can't shine the way God has ordained it to be.
Yeah, and that's deep, right? When you get into the soul, because I think in this fast-moving, fast-paced world, we forget about our soul. We forget that we're so much more than that, than the outside, right?
Yes.
How did you come to that place where you knew that you had to fix your soul? Did you have your own struggles where you were able to come to that place where, like, I need to fix my soul?
Definitely. I remember clear as day when I was 13. I remember around that time I had a crush on a guy. And he told me the only way that he would date me is if my nose was broader, if I was lighter. So from there, it started a down spiral of me not liking what God created, me not liking what I saw in the mirror. Fast forward, age 26, 27, I got tired of being on the monkey wheel. You're chasing after something, never satisfied. And I had to go inward. I had to do some soul searching with God and realize that there was a part of me that got broken at the age of 13 that had to be repaired. Unless that I would have just still been on that wheel trying to be satisfied by different external things that could not bring satisfaction. Only God could do that. So when I went on that journey with God, it began to unveil to me what true beauty is. Not the way the world presents it, but the way God has ordained it.
So was it your connection to God that started creating that change for you? Like, how all of a sudden at 26 you realize, whoa, I'm not happy. Like, I'm not feeling, satisfied inside. I'm chasing something exterior rather than, finding myself inside. What was like the first realization that you need to do that? Was that your connection with God, or was it something else that happened at that time that made you realize you need to go inside of yourself?
So around that time, around the age 26, 27, a lot of things were conspiring around my life. God had to basically slow me down. Sometimes in this world, people make themselves so busy when you're so busy and you're running the rat race, you never have time to really quiet yourself to realize that you're empty, right? You're filling yourself up with different activities, different things to do, but really you're empty. So around that time, God had to shut certain things down. People were walking away. I was transitioning from friendships. Things were being broken where I realized, hey, all these were just fillers. And I had to go to a quiet place and realize that I am not where I need to be. There are certain parts of me, again, that needs to be healed, that needs to be whole. And that's what began my healing journey with God. And that allowed me to see that, hey, girl, the way you're viewing yourself is not the way God sees you. So that's what started me on my path to healing and wholeness and realizing that beauty starts from within.
Yeah, that's really incredible, right? To be able to break through these things that are so, we're so taken away from our inside. And the
Yes.
inside work is the most important work to our healing and for us to become whole within ourselves. And so through, being able to connect to God
Yes.
and some of the experiences you've been through, you said like enough is enough. And I love how you said that you realized that those were all like fillers in your life.
Yes.
That's a really powerful word, fillers. They
Yes.
weren't, they weren't a part of who you were.
Exactly. I've seen a lot of people know it, right? Because we equate our productivity based on how busy we are, right? Just because you're busy, that doesn't mean you're productive. If your soul is displaced, it's not whole, you're not in one standing with your inner being. You can be doing all the activities. When everything stops and you look at yourself in the mirror, are you satisfied with what you are looking at? Right? I had to ask myself that question. Am I satisfied with what am I looking at? Am I equating myself based on what I do? Or am I equating myself based on who God called me to be? And these are two
That's
different,
a huge distinction.
very huge distinction. A lot of people equate themselves based on what they do. Well, I'm this. I accumulated this. This is my status. And they believe that's who they are. That is not who you are. That's what you do, but that is not who you are. And I believe when we get to a place where we can spend time with the Creator to find out what He has called us to do, right? And get healed from certain traumatic experience that we've been through in our life, then we will begin to see the fullness of who we truly are. We're light beings. We're created in His image. We're created to be impactful, but we cannot be impactful if our soul is not whole.
Yeah, and that's a lot of our journey, right? And some people realize that as early as 26 or even younger, and some people it takes them a lifetime to even, or maybe they never get there, right?
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to start. So, as part of your inner journey, what were some things besides your connection to God that you started implementing to be able to find that self-love within yourself?
Well, for me, I had to go in the Word of God, right? There's a scripture that I love to use. It says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and wonderful are His works concerning you. I had to go into the Word of God and realize that I am a masterpiece, that there is none like me, right? You can go throughout the billions of people in this world. There's only one fingerprint like mine's. And when I begin to discover these different things of what God say that I am, based on what people try to tell me that I am, that's what began my journey to knowing this is what God has called me to be. This is who God called me. He said that I'm beautiful. He said that I'm created masterfully. There's nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing lacking in me. If we pay attention to this world system, it tells us that we need, I'm in the beauty industry, right? I love my makeup. I love my wigs. I love my lipsticks. Sometimes the world tells you what you need, and that's not really what you need. What you need, hello, somebody, is to become one with your Creator. Everything you need when you plug into Source, it begins to fill you up. These empty spaces, right? Because sometimes we try to fill ourselves with activities and it never brings satisfaction. Peace, joy, oneness, wholeness, it comes from tapping into the source, and that is God. We try to do it through going out. We try to do it through partying. We try to do it through drinking. We try to do it through sex. But at the end of the day, when you look at yourself in the mirror, are you satisfied with what you see?
Yeah, that's really well said. Because I think what I see a lot, Mandy, going on in the world is that we're chasing something all the time. So you know
Yes.
how my book says the grass is greenest where I am?
Yes.
People don't see as the grass being greenest where they are, right? They're always think it's greener somewhere else. They always think it's better somewhere else, you know? So they're not nurturing as much their own lives because they're living in the external world rather than the internal world. And today, even with the phone and all the technology today,
Yes.
there's a third world, you know? So it's like it's crazy, you know, there's the internal world, there's the phone world or the technology world, and the external world. There's
Yes.
three worlds that we are dealing with right now that can be so overwhelming, and it's so easy to get caught up
Yes.
in the phone world, the technology world, and in the external world, because those are the ones that are more in your face every single day.
But what people don't realize is this world is spiritual. Okay. If you continue to view what you see as, okay, this is just a natural plane, I'm just, going through my journey, you will miss God. You will miss your Kairos moment. When people can understand that this world is spiritual, everything I do have an implication. Where I go have an implication on my future. Who I connect with has an implication on my future. We will make the right decision to make sure that we're in right alignment with God. Right? I know people call him source, but
Whatever you want to call it.
whatever your
Higher
religion is,
power,
me, I
whatever,
call
yeah.
him God. I believe in
Yeah.
Jesus. That's my foundation.
Sure.
And I just understand where God took me from. Like when I can just trace back the lineage, the path that I had to go through, I went through a lot of hurt. I went through a lot of rejection. I went through a lot of ostracization to get me where I am, right? A lot of these things that we go through, Noah, most people don't understand, even though while you're going through it, it is building you. You can either look at it as a setback or you can look at it as a lesson that God is allowing you to go through to learn. Because nothing that we go through is for ourselves. We go through for other people. We go through, it's like we tread the path. Like I've been through this before. And if I made it, you can make it too.
Yeah, I always say, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes.
So building resilience on the journey is super important to for others' success
Yes.
and for our own success as well. So I just think, it's the push, because we're all going to experience trauma.
Yes.
We're all going to experience rejection. We're all going to experience pain. We're all going to experience maybe even hate at one time or another in our lives, and judgment,
Yes.
and all these things. But if you're doing that within yourself, if you're judging yourself, if you're hating on yourself, if you're hurting yourself, you're never going to be able to really get the treasures that are within yourself.
Yes, that's true. It's funny that you said that. It reminds me of a scripture that says we are earthly body that carry treasures. There's treasures that, God has placed in you. And unfortunately, because of the different things that we go through in life, we're not able to tap into it. This world wants you to be so busy, wants you to focus on everything that's going on externally, and you miss what has been placed on the inside of you. And the only way to tap into that is by getting quiet, meditating, hearing, getting a download from God on what he has called you to do. We've all been called to something, whether he's called you in the beauty industry, whether he's called you into ministry, the health industry, whatever industry that you are in, you've been called, come on, to mount that stage and to shine your light, to draw people out of darkness. And most of us, we're so consumed with darkness, we don't realize that we're missing out on life. We're missing out on the abundant life that God has promised us. I just believe when somebody's walking in their purpose and they're walking in their calling, that's the abundant life, because you feel fulfilled. You feel that you're accomplishing something that is beyond you, that you've taken on a task that is beyond you. Because let's just face it, there are some visions that we have. If God doesn't intervene, it can't get done. There's some visions that you have, like to go around. You need divine intervention to do it. So I just believe, when we focus on these things that God has given us, imagine what we can do, right?
Yes, and when you're speaking, that's what comes to me is purpose, passion, and mission.
Yes.
Because I literally tell people that want me to do things, if it's not aligned with my purpose,
Yes.
passion, and mission
Yes.
in this world, then I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
Because it's a waste of time. It's
It
taking me
is.
off my path, you know?
Yes.
And so it's so important to know who you are and to stay in your lane.
Yes.
But yet help others up as well. So it's like a dance, but you want to
Yes.
help others, but you also want to stay true, because life goes by fast.
It
And if you
does.
don't stay true to who you are and to your purpose and your passion and mission in this world, it's very easy to never get there
That's true.
because you're so busy, trying to maybe, do little things that don't really matter, because we're good at distracting ourselves.
Oh,
You know
yes.
that. You-
One thing and I just want to kind of like briefly like tell this story for those who's watching, and maybe you have not fully tapped into what God has placed on the inside of you. Most of the time, the area that you're attacked the most is where God is calling you. Because when I was at the age of 13, I was attacked a lot on my looks, my identity, how I was shaped as a woman, my color. All of these things played a factor, not realizing there was a force, a spiritual force behind the scene, trying to attack to make sure I never reach where God has called me to be. God has called me into the beauty industry. He's called me to empower women, whether me doing your makeup or your hair or through words. But my foundation, where God has called me to, was that industry. So I want you to pay attention to where you're getting attacked the most. Most likely that's where God is calling you, right? And I had to realize that,
Yeah,
oh
that's
my goodness,
powerful.
a force beyond that, beyond what you can see, was leading people. Because when people come, they say mean things to you. They say things to you that is out of the norm to crush your spirit. That is because that person has an opening that a negative spirit, negative force can use to get to you. So that's what happened to me at the age of 13, me not realizing, wow, that very area that I was attacked in is where God is using me the most.
Yeah, that's such a incredible realization to
Yes.
be able to know that, right? And I'm sure it took you time to get there to see
Yes.
that because hindsight, that you don't always see things. 2020 they say is, it's hindsight because you don't always see things at that time when we go through things because I feel like we walk in life a lot with like blinders on.
Yes.
We don't have the full picture. And that's why faith and trust and the connection to God is so important because when we have that, we have that knowing inside of us that
Yes.
even as we're going through the obstacles, even when we're going through the ups and downs, even when we go through traumas, we know that God is going to get us through it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, so that makes a huge difference in everything. So I wanted to ask you, so how do you see, so we're talking about the soul level and going within, you were saying start to meditate, go inside of yourself. Do you talk to God? How do you, other ways that you connect with God?
Well, Noah, you kind of know. First of all, I pastor with my husband. We have a church called House of Love Ministries. I go into myself with the Word of God. That's my direction. That's how I can mirror myself based on what God says. He said that I'm more than a conqueror, then I apply that word to me that I'm more than a conqueror. He says that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, then I apply that word to me. If somebody does not accept me, I don't allow that now. See, I can't say about 20 years ago or 15 years ago because I was not really connected to God the way I am now. Now, if somebody does not accept me, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. It doesn't matter. I'm probably not your people. I'm not for you. I'm not called to you. And it is okay. When we understand that, we don't take it personal, right? The only time we begin to take things personal is because there's an area in our life that has been compromised that we have not gotten healed from yet. So this is how I go within myself. I go within through the word of God. I pray, I fast, I meditate, I journal, I sing songs, spiritual songs unto the Lord, and it brings joy to me. It brings happiness. It steals me on the inside. I can sit there and get a download. Okay, God, what is my next direction for life? Where is it that you want me to go? Who am I supposed to impact now? What is my theme for this year? What direction you're calling my conference to go this year? What is the theme? Like this year, I have a conference that I'm doing August 30th. He said, you're going to tell the women to lead their ship. Me not knowing that I would have to walk out now what the theme is, lead your ship. Because guess what? With you already know what I have going on personally as it relates to my husband. I have to first walk this out. What does leading your ship mean? What does that look like? Right? If something begin to happen, can you still lead in the midst of adversity and tribulations that goes on personally? And I'm walking that out now. And I believe if I was not connected to God, if I was not in his word, if I did not spend time with him, honestly, I probably would have lost my mind by now. But because my foundation is in something greater outside of me, that's why I'm able to stand and that's why I'm able to continue on.
Yeah, that's really powerful because I know what you're going through.
Yes.
And I know that your husband has cancer
Yes.
and he's been dealing with that and in and out of the hospital, but you're still continuing to live your purpose and passion and mission.
Yes.
Even through everything you're going through, you're making time for your husband and you're also making time to help others and continue your mission and
Yes.
bring your gifts to this world. And I think that's incredible, right?
Yes.
Because it gives you something to look forward to,
Yes.
and you know that you're here for a reason and you don't want to
Yes.
let God down either. So you're
Yes.
just balancing everything. And I agree, if you didn't have that strong faith inside of you, you
Yes.
probably could crumble, right? It's
Yes.
easy to crumble
Oh,
through
yes.
adversity because it's not easy. And how old is your son right now?
He's 3.
Yeah, and you have a 3-year-old son and a
Yes.
husband that's sick right now.
Yes.
And how long has it been going on with him being sick?
About a year now.
Yeah.
It's been up and down about a year.
Yeah, and you're still doing this huge event on August
Yes.
30th, right?
Yes, I am.
Lead your ship.
Lead your ship, because I'm now understanding why that theme was given to me. Because most people, when life in Noah, we tend to crumble, and everything that God has entrusted in it falls to the ground because of adversity. And most of the time, as it relates to women, we tend to shut everything down. But that was not the direction God gave me. He said, you're going to get through this. Your husband is going to get through this, and you're going to continue on the mission that I've given you to do. Mission does not stop because of what's going on around you. Matter of fact, it should fuel you to say, you know what? You came to stop me. You came to cause me to go backward. You came to cause this adversity came to stop my trust in God, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to stand 10 toes down. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to press, right? The only way I'm able to press is because I press into God. That's why I'm able to press and continue my mission. And if most people had that same mindset, listen, life doesn't stop because things happen. Press your way through it, because in the midst of what you're going through, because you could be listening to me right now and you're probably going through something that you feel like it is about to take your breath away. But I came to tell you on today, on this woman's podcast, press your way through. Go beyond yourself. Tap into God and he will see you through. You won't crumble. God has not brought you this far for you to faint. He has not brought you this far for you to crumble in what life is trying to serve you. Tell life, you know what? You came at me, but I'm going to overcome you. And this is where that word come in. I'm more than a conqueror. I can conquer whatever. That's the thing about a human spirit. That's the thing about what God has given us, that resilience to be able to overcome. Like, no, I've been through so much. And the spirit of resilience is like an antidote. It's like an antibody, right? Because life, I consider it a bacteria. When it comes to infiltrate you, to break your system down, and to cause you to get sick and to stop. But when you've gone through things enough and you got history with the source, with the maker, that if he saw you through things in the past, come on, girl, you about to make me go to church. I know we're not at church. Let me calm down. If he saw you through things in the past, these are things that you can remember. I've gone through something like this similar. I can overcome. I'm going to get through this. This is not about to kill me, but I'm about to walk over this. Right? So that's the resilient mindset. Let me let you talk, because I feel like I'm about to
I love that.
I feel like we shifted somewhere.
No, I love that. That is so important. And somebody watching this is going to get something out of your words because you're passionate and you're passionate about what you're saying and you're speaking your truth.
Yes.
And because you know you've been there, you've been challenged, and you know that what it takes to pull through. You know
Yes.
that you can't let your circumstances stop you in your life. And I love what you say also, that you can't take anything personally. You don't
Yes.
take anything personally.
You can't.
You have to learn to let it go. Because if we take things personally, we're going to be walking around upset and angry and disappointed all the time.
Listen, when you realize, Noah, when we understand that everything that has been given to us, it does not belong to us. My husband doesn't belong to me. My son doesn't belong to me. It's been given to me to steward over. God gave me my husband. He gave me my son. He's given me the responsibility to steward over these gifts, but they don't belong to me. They belong to him. So if I prayed and I trusted him to give me these things, right? He answered my prayer. Then I have to trust him enough to heal him. I have to trust him enough to bring me on through. I have to trust him enough that he's not going to fail me, because my trust is in him. It's not in what I see. I thank God for the doctors, but my trust is in God. If God gave me this man, surely he can heal him.
For sure.
Surely God can bring me through. It's not mine. And when we have that mindset, the things that we've been entrusted, like you've been entrusted with so many things, with your mission, your passion to see people healed, to see people whole. That is something that God has given you to steward over, because there's too much broken people in the world, right? When we're so broken, we can't fulfill our mission. When we're broken, we can't fulfill the thing that God has placed in our lap, because we're so consumed with life. We're so consumed with the heaviness of this world that we can't fly. We can't ascend to where God is calling us to in order to do what we're called to do, right? And I'm excited about your mission. This is why we cross paths and we align and we can walk together, because you want to see people heal for real. You want to see people made whole for real, and that is rare. And I commend you for that. And thank you for letting me be a part of your
Oh
podcast.
no, I'm so excited to be a part. This is so awesome. This is such a great conversation. I think we'll take a quick commercial break from our sponsors and we'll continue this conversation.
Awesome.
We'll be right back. World Healing Tour 2, 2024, October 20th at the Wyndham Hotel in Boca Raton. We are looking for vendors, for sponsors, for speakers. If you want to be a part of this, go to noahcrane.com or click the link below. And we are back with Dr. Mandy Fresh. Such a great conversation. So one of the things that we really, I wanted to bring it back to is we talked a lot about, how being connected to our soul and being able to, get our mindset on straight and all that,
Yes.
how that can help us create more prosperity in our lives, right?
Yes.
Because right now, there's inflation, there's all kinds of things going on, and people are caught up a lot in lack. Like, I don't have enough to pay my bills, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough this. And I always say, right, the world's abundant. You just look at the plants outside. I mean, everything's abundant. There's abundance of money. The bank is sitting there, printing money every single day, right?
Yes.
But yet, there's so many people that have a lack of prosperity. So I wanted to ask you, how is your soul connected to your prosperity?
So every question you ask, I have to revert back to the Bible and to the Word. One thing I understand, Noah, right? Because when we look at human nature, human being, first of all, we came from the earth. Okay, when God formed man, He formed us in His image and His creation, but He formed it from the ground that we came. If earth is always producing fruits, grass, trees, the earth is not dead. And if that's where God formed us, surely there is something in me that God has placed in me to produce, to make sure that all my needs are met. God has given men gifts. He's given you gifts, treasures, talents, skills. And a lot of us have gotten caught up in the world system and just working a 9 to 5. We're not working our gifts. We're not working the talents, the skills, the abilities that He's given us to create wealth, to carry us through economic challenges and hard times. Because if you're focused on just Wall Street and what is going on with the economy, then you're going to miss it. You're going to be one of those that fall to the wayside, because you don't understand that if the earth is still producing, then you should be still producing as well. You got to understand, if the earth is producing fruits, every summer the mango trees come out. Come on, every summer mango fruits are producing. When it's time for apples to produce, it produce. What about you? You're connected with God. If the earth can, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, as long as this earth remains, there will be seed, time, and there is harvest. Okay, everything that God has given us is given to us in seed form. Whether it's your gift, your talent, it is given to us in seed form. Now, whether you decide to plant it for it to grow, that's going to be on you. Whether it's your singing career, or maybe you're called to be an author, to write books, or maybe you're called into the medical field, whatever it is, everything that has been placed in our hands has been placed in seed form. Now, it's our responsibility to plant it, right? Because I'm not saying to go ahead and plant your hand in the ground. That's not what I mean. It's our responsibility to make our skills, our gifts work for us. Because if God has given it to us, then it should be able to create wealth for you. So if you're caught up with what's going on in Wall Street, yes, look at me right in my eyes. I'm talking to you. If you're caught up with what is going on politically, you're going to miss it and you're going to fall behind. As long as the earth remains, God has given you seed. He has given you time to cultivate your gift, and surely there will be a harvest after it.
I love it. And harvest takes time sometime.
Sometimes some people plant the same year and they reap a hundredfold the same year. It just depends. And this is why you should not throw your eggs in one basket. You throw it in many baskets, something is going to produce. Some may take a little bit longer, some shorter period of time. It just depends on what skills and gifts and talents that you have. Like for an example, if you're very good at giving people advice, maybe you can tap into consultation. Maybe you can start consulting people. Maybe you can start charging people for your counsel, for your time. These are the different things I'm talking about. Like you can monetize on your gifts, right? So we shouldn't fear about the direction the economy is going, but our trust should be in God. Lord, where do you want me to plant my gifts? Where are you calling me to plant myself in this season and in this time so I don't miss you? Because there's always an abundance of harvest. It just depends on where you plant, because we have to be in line. Most people are not in line. They don't take time to hear God. They don't take time to meditate. They don't take time to get a download to see where God wants them to go. To listen. They don't take time because we're caught up with the noise of what CBN is telling us, what all these other news stations. We're caught up and we're missing it. Remember, our gifts and our treasures are from within. If the earth is still producing, you should be too.
I love that so much, and you literally gave me an image of me full of seeds.
You are.
So
we
how many seeds do we have?
You are. We all are full of seeds. Think about it. No, we came from the earth. When God formed us, he formed us from the ground.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Right?
Like, it really makes so much sense. It makes so much sense because to reap your seeds, you have to take action.
You have to.
It doesn't happen on its own. You can't sit back and be like, okay, God, reap my seeds. You know? It doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't.
You have to fall. You
Yes.
have to rise. You have to play. You have to be out there with other people in the world, because if
Yes.
you're not playing full out, you're never going to reap those seeds that are inside of you.
Think about it. A seed has to go into the ground. It has to germinate before it starts to grow. The things that you go through in life, that's your germination season. The different hits that you take along your journey, that's your germination season, because it all makes sense when it comes in full circle. The Bible talks about that all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. When you understand that God is giving you a purpose, you understand that your trials and tribulations won't break you, because it's going to work together for your story, the story that God has given you. All these things that we're going through, Noah, is just a story that's being cultivated to bring somebody else out.
And it makes a beautiful story because
Yes.
people love story. People resonate with stories. I mean,
Yes.
don't we love listening to stories?
Oh, yes.
So every time you're going through a challenge, through an obstacle, through something, there's a story that's going to inspire somebody else. It might not feel great right now.
Yes.
But it's all how you decide to deal with life, because you can always, choose to confront it and to find a solution, right? Because there's always a solution. You believe every
Yes.
problem has a solution.
Oh, yes. If there's a problem, there is a solution. And I look at it like this. Okay, I'm facing a challenge that may seems beyond me. My mindset is it's pruning time. This is my season of pruning. There's some things I probably will have to cut off, or maybe there are some people that I may have to disconnect from because they can't go into this next phase, right? When we look at a palm tree, Noah, every time the palm tree gets taller, we realize there's leaves, there's certain parts of the tree that begins to die off in order for it to grow. And most of us don't understand the growing process is painful, right? Some of us don't like to grow. Some of us, we just want things to just happen and just fall in our laps. But no, the challenges that you face, the adversity that you face, that is your pruning season. That is your germination season. That's when you go into the ground. That's when things that no longer serves you begins to fall off because it can't go to where God is taking you. This next phase and this next part of your life, or this next story, they fulfilled their purpose.
Yes.
Or this environment, or these people, or wherever it is that you were, it fulfilled the purpose for where you were at that time. But when God gets ready to elevate you, when he gets ready to transition you to your next phase in life, people, places, environments will begin to fall off. And that's okay. That is your pruning season. And go with God. You're going to be okay. Sometimes we feel like the world is going to end. When people walk away, when people start talking to us, they stop dealing with us. We just feel like our world is going to end because they were a part of our tree. There were the branches that was a part of the tree. But when it's growing time, you see certain branches begin to fall off, certain leaves begin to fall off. You have to grow. It's either they fall off or you're going to die. When trees are not pruned, when plants are not pruned, what begins to happen? It begins to die. So that has to happen in order for you to grow.
It's part of the process.
It's part of the
You
process.
must have seen the Tyler Perry thing, right? About the tree, how we have some people in our lives that are roots and some people
Yes.
that are branches, some people that are leaves.
Yes.
Yeah,
Know the
I
difference.
love him so much. He's
Yes.
amazing. Tyler Perry. So yeah, I agree. That is if when we realize that, and in my book, The Grass is Greenest Where I Am, I talk
Yes.
about I had a game that I created called the elimination game when I was looking for my soulmate, because I believe that the more I can eliminate the wrong people out, the faster I will find the one.
Yes.
And you can and what I realized in my own life is that if we don't eliminate things out of our life, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, will help us eliminate it out of our lives,
Oh,
whether we
yeah.
want it or not. So we can try to hold on to things, but if God says this is enough, this is not good for you, it's going to find a way to leave your life one way or another. You
Yeah, or
can't.
hurt you.
That's why letting go and surrender is so powerful, because
Yes.
it's that trust and faith that you have
Yes.
and to start receiving the gifts of the universe.
Yes, the gifts that God, listen, some of us, the way our mindset is, Noah, like we're reaching out for something that's already in you. You're looking for something that's already in you. And the school system doesn't do us a favor, because, they say obtain this and obtain that. Then you're going to be somebody in society. Get all the 20 degrees that you want to get. Then you're going to be somebody in society. But I came to realize with all my master degrees, doctorate degree that I got, no, that doesn't do. It's a good it's a good addition to who I am, but that's not who I am. Like I said before, when everything stops, when the music stops, when the titles are put aside, when the doctor in front of my name is put aside, and I look at myself in the mirror, am I satisfied with what I'm looking at? Is my soul satisfied? The greatest satisfaction that anybody can get in life, in this lifetime, is being healed from all past traumas, all past wounds, because you can't truly say that you're fulfilling purpose walking around hurt, bleeding on people. And when I mean bleeding on people, it comes out through your personality. It comes on how you answer people. You're not pleasant. You're not someone that people want to be around. You're always combative. This is what I consider people bleeding, because of something that you have not overcome. It comes out through your personality. It comes out through interaction with other people. People don't want to be by you because you're very aggressive, or maybe it's just something about you that your aura gives out. It just gives out something that people don't want to be around. And what people don't realize is what you don't get healed from will begin to speak for you, will begin to speak for you. What you don't overcome will have you looking like a fool, because you didn't want to take time to get your healing on. You didn't want to take time to go see a therapist. You didn't want to go take time to go pray, meditate, to see what the Father have to say about this soul wound. How do you let it go? Most people don't know how to let it go. If you don't deal with it, it's going to deal with you in public. It's going to deal with you in your business, because you can't run away from yourself. And this is why I said a lot of us, we try to accumulate all these things. These things does not matter if your soul is discombobulated, if your soul is just scattered. Listen, it doesn't matter. I have an experience. I don't know if we have time to talk about it. Oh, we got 11 minutes. I'm probably not going to take too long, but I remember, I was invited to a church to go lead worship, right? I was invited to go lead worship, just be my best self, right? So I began, the first day was great. It was really great. I came there with the mission in my mind, and that is to serve the people of God. But the second day, because I saw celebrities there, my motives got repositioned. Instead of me having that mindset, I'm here to serve the people of God, I said, okay, I'm finna show out because there's celebrities here. The minute I did that, because that was tied to rejection, right? When you're not healed from rejection, you start doing things that'll make you look crazy. So I got off my mission because I wanted to show out because of who was there. It began to mess the whole atmosphere up. What was in me began to come out, and people were no longer blessed by it because my motives changed. What was internally shifted, and people can sense that, right? So this is why I mean, when you're not healed, when you're not whole, right? What was meant to be a blessing can become a curse. What was meant for you to benefit from can no longer, you will not find any benefit from it. It is because of how your soul is positioned. And honey, I've been through some things, right? So I had to even go through a journey of release and rejection. Because if you don't release rejection, we begin to self sabotage opportunities, relationships, business deals. Come on now. This is why we have to get healed. This is why we have to be whole.
I love that. And, I actually have a chapter in my book called The Gift of Rejection. Because I
Yes.
was rejected so many times in my life that I had to find it as a gift. And
Yes.
now when I get rejected, it might hurt, but I realize that it's a gift because
Yes.
God wants the best for me. And so
Yes.
if I get rejection, it's because I'm not supposed to go in that direction.
Yes.
So you learn to listen and you learn to appreciate. And like we talked about earlier, not take everything in life so personally. It's not about you.
Yes.
Life is not about you. We make it so much about us. We're so caught up in our problems and our things, but we're here to do bigger things than just be caught up in
Yes.
our own self.
Exactly. Everybody's caught up in the world that they're going through. I have a single that's called is a part of my song. I said, I've been around the world. I've been through different problems, but one thing I know is God is on my side. See, when you have that mentality that God is on your side, it doesn't matter what you go through, you're going to overcome. We all have a world. And unfortunately, people are stuck in their bubble and they can't see the bigger picture. They're stuck in their frame of mind. The things that you go through comes to construct your frame of mind. And if you're not careful, you'll reduce your light. If you're not careful, you'll reduce the gift that God has placed on the inside of you because, like you said, somebody rejected you. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to reject yourself.
Oh, I did that for years.
You,
Absolutely.
you'll begin to
So,
reject what God has given you. I remember when I was dealing with that spirit heavily, I used to ask God, I said, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I said, you created, I said, I said, you did this. Maybe there's a default somewhere in the mechanism of how you created me, not realizing, no. And it's one thing to be rejected by people, and it's another thing when a spirit of rejection follows you. That's two different things. You can get rejected by people because they don't understand you, or maybe they don't know who you are, or they just like to stick to what they know. Versus you have people where that spirit follows them. No matter what they do, they get rejected in everything. Then that's when you need to do a little reverse and go spend time with God and figure out what's going on here. Where is the disconnect? Is there something that I'm missing? Is there a healing that needs to take place so that where I go, I can be received correctly? Because what you don't deal with, like I said, can begin to deal with you. It begins to show in your external
world, yeah.
perspective. You in your face, you thinking you smiling, but when people look at you, they just see a mean bat.
Yeah,
I mean,
because people feel authenticity,
yes.
and I think like one of the things that I really pride myself on is that I'm very heart centered and very
Yes.
authentic, and people feel that,
Yes.
that you're authentic, that you're heart centered, and there's something bigger than yourself that and that's part of purpose and mission,
Yes.
that you're so aligned with who you are as a person and you're confident in who you are, and you're not going to let anybody take that away from you.
Oh, yes. You can't let people take that away from you. That's what I said. There's one thing, people may not accept you. Everybody's not going to accept you. We've all been called to a certain people. Our voice has been assigned. I want to make sure we ain't going over time. Our voice has been assigned to certain people. We're not going to be everybody cup of tea, and that's okay. But make sure you find your cup of tea. Okay? Make
Yes.
sure you find the people that God has called you to. Who has God assigned you to? Because everybody's not your assignment.
And don't be alone,
No,
because
of
being alone
course.
is not healthy. All right, we're going to take one more commercial break from our sponsor, and we will be right back with Mandy Fresh. The Grass Grows Where I Am, an incredible anthology book that we are bringing collaborators together. This book is about wisdom, resilience, empowerment, and enlightenment. Do you want to co-author with us? If you do, go to noahcrane.com or click. And we are back with Dr. Mandy Fresh. This is I literally can talk to you all day. Like, seriously, I love your depth. I love just who you are, how you speak your truth, how connected you are to God. Like, it's just my people, right? I want to talk with somebody on a soul level. We talk on a soul level. And literally, I wanted to tell you, sometimes when I'm so connected to my soul and my spirit, I can literally like walk outside and I literally feel my soul or my spirit walk in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like unbelievable. It's almost like an outer body experience because you're just your light is so bright. And you
Yes.
just feel it like that, there's somebody always like almost you're being led,
You are being led,
and
of
it's a
course.
beautiful thing because
Yes.
it is a guided journey. This journey is not, it really, he's here to guide us, but we have
Yes.
to go inside to be able to find the prosperity, the guidance, the love, the acceptance, and find our way is
Of
within
course.
ourselves,
There's a scripture that I love reading. I love reading it over myself because this is what keeps me grounded. It talks about, it says, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. God knew us. God knew us in eternity. We serve an eternal. The God that we pray to, the source that you're connected to, he's eternal. He does not live in this time. So he knew us before we came through this dimension. We were already with him. This is why I say there's nothing missing in you. There's nothing lacking. You came in this world full. But what happened is when we begin to go through these traumas, these experiences, it began to chip away at the fullness that was brought into this dimension. It began to chip away at your gift, your identity, your mindset. This is why some people are confused of who they are.
it starts to dim your light.
It dims your light completely. And this is why I always revert back. Get in the presence of God. Meditate. Hear what he has to say about you. Make sure your foundation is bigger than you, the person. It has to be something bigger than you. Because when we put only trust in ourselves and we don't have a foundation bigger than ourselves, you're going to get lost because sometimes ourselves lie to us. Sometimes we can lie to ourselves. The Bible says
Yes.
the heart of a man sometimes could be deceitful. You thinking you're good in one area and it's not like that. So when you're connected to God and you hone in, you'll realize that everything I needed was already on the inside of me. Remember we said earlier, as long as this earth is remaining, there's seed time and harvest. If the earth is producing, you should be producing too because you're connected. You're in alignment with God. You're in alignment with the direction, the path that he has placed for you. So once we become healed, the fragmented pieces of our souls begin to be mended and put together. And we can walk truly in our purpose, truly in the fullness of what God has called us to do.
I love that. We are ignited.
Listen.
Yes, we're ignited. I love that so much. I could talk to you all day, but we're going to have another conversation, I'm
Yes.
sure. So, Dr. Mandy, how can people connect with you, find you? You do so many incredible things. You're also an author. We didn't even
Yes.
say that. And you do incredible events.
Yes.
And I'm very excited about your August 30th
Yes.
event. I'm going to be part of it.
Yes.
So, how can people connect with you and find you?
You can definitely connect with me, mandyfreshfrederic.org, or you can go on Facebook. You can find me everything under Mandy Fresh Frederic. You'll find me there online.
Okay, I love that. Well, this has been such a great conversation.
Yes.
We'll definitely, have to do this again. And I'm so excited to have you on my journey because you are just such a special person. Not just
No,
saying
I'm
Yeah.
excited to have you as well. It's a blessing.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you for joining us today in the World Healing Tour podcast. Until next time, remember to take these 3 actions daily. Number 1, every day remember to have a grateful heart and connect to your gratitude. Number 2, every day remember to ground in love and compassion for yourself and for others. And number 3, every day don't forget that you're not alone, but rather you are being guided every day by God. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Namaste.